Hey everyone, it's Dave and I'm doing another Bible review on the personal size Canterbury. This came in last Saturday while I was preparing to preach out of the Preacher's Bible, and I was so excited to see this. I went with the black with the dark red liner and the two red ribbons, and so I'll show you some close-ups of this with the full-size Canterbury. I love the Schuyler personal size Bibles. I think they're absolutely amazing. The readability is incredible. I'm not going to talk too much about that, and I'm not going to compare this one to too many sizes because I did a video on the personal size Quintel, which is pretty much the same size as this guy. So if you want to see this size next to other editions, then go watch my video on a unboxing and comparative look of the Schuyler PSQ that I think I did almost a year ago when those came out. I think they came out last June. So I looked at the New American Standard personal size Quintel, and you can see more of that there. But I just want to show you this one with the full-size Canterbury, give you a comparative look with that, and then just kind of highlight some of the differences that are in the Canterbury versus the Quintel, and then also some of the similarities, because it's based off of what the Quintel is, but because it's King James, they add a few more little bells and whistles for you to just make it a little bit nicer than your standard Quintel. So I've got the full size in brown goatskin. This is the black goatskin, and so let me just put this here and show you what this looks like next to each other. So that's the size. Let me just open this thing up for you real quick. And again, I went with the black. They have other color options. I really like the black because, again, this dark red liner. And it's so tasteful. It's not, I'm not sure how the camera lighting is treating this, but it's not a bright, in-your-face red at all. It's very tasteful. And even the ribbons, even though it says red on the website, I was expecting like bright red like I have on some of my other Bibles, but this is actually more of a dark red or a maroon. If you saw my video where I replaced the ribbons on the Preacher's Bible, where I wanted a deep red, almost a maroon color for the Preacher's Bible, these ribbons are very close to the color that I selected for the Preacher's Bible. So that was kind of a fun surprise because I love that color combo, and I didn't know I was going to be getting that color combo with this. And so these ribbons are a little bit darker. So if we open it up, you look at the format, it's very reminiscent of what you find in the Quintel. You have your double column with the references at the bottom. What's different about this that you wouldn't pick up just kind of looking at it on the surface is this is verse by verse, where the Quintel is paragraph format. And so that's one of the differences that the Canterbury carries with it, is it's the verse by verse format. Alright, what else is different about this guy? You'll notice under the red chapter headings that you've got these ornamental drop caps that takes the first word of that chapter and just presents it in a nice fancy looking way. So even though it's a new Bible, there's still some features that kind of take you to that old King James world. And so those are the biggest differences in the Canterbury, besides just it being the King James text, is the verse by verse, the drop caps, and so it's like a refined Quintel. And I love the Canterbury editions. They do have concordances in the back of the full size, which for the thin lines and these personal size, they've been dropping the concordances. But I've got news, great news for you. They still, in the back, of course, you have your maps and stuff, but they still have the King's English, a glossary of terms used in the King James Bible in the back. And so the King James does use some words that are dated, and we don't speak like that anymore. And some of the words can be kind of confusing. And so there's actually a glossary of terms to tell you what those things mean. And just for fun, I did this in the full-size video. Let's just pick out a few of these and see what's up. Here's one. Fain, F-A-I-N, means willingly or gladly. I would have never picked that up on my own. Thank you, glossary of King's English. Jangling, which means excessive talk. Thank you, glossary of King's English. Tabor, T-A-B-E-R, to beat like a drum. Thank you, Glossary of King's English. And my favorite, yay, Y-E-A, means yes indeed. Thank you, Glossary of King's English. And just as an honorable mention, they do put lined notebook paper in the back of these editions as well. All the lined paper is the same GSM as the pages of scripture is printed on. This is something either people really don't like because it's not thicker paper. I use the Micron 005 pens, and I haven't had an issue with it, and I've used this paper before. Actually, what I'm using these Canterburys for is I'm recording an audio Bible set to ambient guitar music that I write and record as well. And so I use this because the font's so big. Another thing I forgot to mention, the self-pronouncing text. When you get to names and stuff, it has the pronunciations in there to help you pronounce it right, and that's one of the reasons I'm using this to record the audio Bibles. The self-pronouncing text, the big verse-by-verse double column is so nice to be able to have to record, and so I'm using this Canterbury to record, and I'm writing in the back. And the notebook paper, again, this one's a little bit thicker, but it's still the same GSM as the pages up front. Granted, I know it's a little bit heavier paper than what's in the personal size or the thin lines, but I have been using it, and you can see I'm just writing in there to keep track of my schedule and where things are going, and I'll show you the ghosting of that on the back side of that glossary is what we have. But I've just been jotting notes to keep track of where I am in the audio Bible and what dates I recorded which books and everything, and so I'm using this to actually record the audio Bible. But it's nice when I'm looking at something for the first time in the King James to have a heads up, and so if I'm at baseball practice or something, this is just a more portable version for me to take around and go through the reading of the audio Bible before I come home and pick this one up, turn the microphone on, and start recording my reading. And so this is going to help me just, again, take a portable Bible around with me. Also, one of the bonuses in having specifically the personal size Canterbury to go with the full size Canterbury is just like in the Quintel, the page numbers match up exactly. So exactly where the verses are at match up, and even for Bible study, this helps amazing. So I have, for instance, like the Cambridge Wide Margin does the same thing with the Pitt Minions, where I use the bigger edition to study in. I have my notes in there, everything's highlighted and marked up and cross-referenced and everything. But then when I'm out and about and I have something more portable with me, if I'm at the office or, again, baseball game, baseball practice or something, I want something more portable, and I'm looking for those scriptures, or even in conversations with individuals, and I know from my study exactly where I've marked it out, and I recognize even what part of the page and where in the Bible a certain thing is set. It's so much quicker to find it in a smaller edition that lines up perfectly. And so again, this full size and this personal size, the page numbers, chapters, verses, everything lines up exactly, except again, you're not going to have the concordance in this personal size like you do in the full size. But again, you still have the glossary of King's English, which is just such an appropriate feature in carrying the King James, I think. Also, I forgot to make mention, so that's why the sound is different as I'm shooting this. I realized that, I forgot to mention that the Psalms is single column once you get over there, instead of the double column, which is kind of a fun feature in the Canterbury as well. I love this edition. If you're a King James person, like any of the Schuyler Canterburys are amazing. I just saw that they came out with a less expensive version, but it still looks amazing. It's actually the full-size Canterbury, but in a leather-wrapped hardback, if I'm getting my information right. And so that edition actually looks pretty cool if you're into the hardbacks and stuff. But again, I've gone with the floppy goatskin for myself for both editions. I love them both, and I'm using them for the audio Bible. And so that's just a look at the personal size Canterbury by Schuyler, and it's amazing. I'll say this about Schuyler. I have a lot of Schuyler editions, and I have a lot of editions from some other publishers. I've never found consistency and quality in a publisher like I have in Schuyler. And every time I order a Schuyler, or my wife has picked one up for herself as well, or we get one for a friend, I'm always amazed at when I see it. Like, Schuyler's amazing. And so someone wrote me, and I need to write them back. They were asking what my favorite one was between two publishers, and Schuyler was one of the choices. And honestly, I just have to go with Schuyler just because of their consistency. They make amazing stuff, and you can find all their Bibles at evangelicalbible.com. I'll link that in the description. And I love those guys. I love the work that they're doing in producing these, and it just seems like each edition just gets better and better, and I've never been disappointed in a Schuyler. That is it. Thanks for watching this review, and y'all have an amazing day. Hey, don't forget to hit the double thumbs up to subscribe if you haven't already. Also, the music playing behind this track is available at forloveoftheword.bandcamp.com, where the audio Bible and my music are both available. Also, if you like the work of this channel and would like to support it, you can visit me on patreon.com/David Lee Brown. All links will be in the description.